Hello and good evening, everyone. We welcome you to the Capitol Center as we get set for another presentation of Capital men's basketball here at athletics.capital.edu. I'm Charlie Denison. I'll be bringing you the action tonight as we welcome you into another season of Capital basketball. We will be your home for Capital men's and women's basketball all season long. And tonight, we get our first look at the men's team that has gotten off to a nice start here in the 2021-2022 campaign after battling the likes of Miami and Ohio, two teams from the Mid-American Conference at the Division I level during the exhibition season. Capital started off the year with a 61-56 win over Ohio Wesleyan. They then followed that up by splitting a pair in the Buzz Riddle Classic, hosted by Westminster over in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, about a half-hour drive east of Youngstown, right over the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. They lost to Westminster in their first game by a final of 81-79, but they were able to rebound with a 74-63 victory over Thiel. And so, with that, Capital comes into tonight's game with an overall record of 2-1 on the season. And tonight, they get to entertain the Big Red of Denison University out of the North Coast Athletic Conference. We will get to previewing Denison coming up in just a moment, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the players that have stood out for Capital so far this season. Let's start with the leading scorer, David Sanford, 6-foot sophomore out of Springfield, Ohio. He's gotten off to a nice start offensively for this Capital crew, 13.7 points per game, leads Capital in that particular category. And the big reason that he's gotten off to a nice start offensively this year is his shooting prowess, particularly from downtown. Sanford shooting 50% from three-point range as we enter play this evening. He'd like to get to the free throw line a little bit more. He's only got 3 shots at the cherry stripe so far tonight, so look for him to be aggressive in this game against Denison. Another player that stood out for Capital so far this year, Keiondre Graves, the 6'3" senior from Euclid, Ohio, coming into play tonight, averaging 11.3 points per game. And he's been getting to the free throw line a lot, and he's been grabbing some rebounds as well, making plays all over the court for this Capital team. Speaking of grabbing the ball, grabbing rebounds, look no further than the 6'3" senior, Tyler Schreck. I had the pleasure of covering Austin Schreck during his time here at Capital, the older brother of Tyler, and he was quite the competitor, always had a nose for the ball, always knew when to drive towards the hoop, and his brother Tyler has been the exact same way during his time here with the purple and white. Coming into play tonight, Tyler Schreck nearly averaging a double-double on the season, 9.7 points per game. And so far, we're a few games into the season, but so far, 11.3 rebounds per game for Schreck. That is best in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Capital would love to see him keep up that pace, cleaning off the glass here during the 2021-2022 campaign. So those are just some of the few of the players that have stood out so far for Capital, and we'll introduce the rest of the squad to you as the game progresses. Meantime, we shift our focus over to the Big Red of Denison, and believe it or not, folks, their leading scorer is from my alma mater. That's right, Darren Rubin, the sophomore from Dayton, Ohio, former Oakwood High School Lumberjack. He's the leading scorer for this Big Red team here in the early parts of the 2021-22 campaign. 15 points per game, shooting 33% from three-point range, 5 of 15 from beyond the arc. He is definitely a player to watch for this Big Red team, as is Ricky Radke, who's averaging 10 points per game and 4.5 rebounds per game. Rubin is a guard. Radke, meanwhile, is the big burly forward down low. The Willoughby, Ohio native has shot 80% from the field so far, 8 of 10 from the field here during the young campaign. So if you're looking for a Mr. Inside and a Mr. Outside duo for this Big Red team, look no further than Darren Rubin, the sharpshooter, and Ricky Radke, the guy that can go down low and get you a bucket or two. Denison, the Big Red, Well, they've gotten off to a tough start to begin the young campaign. Started it with an 86-76 loss against Case Western. That came in Granville. And then they recently went on the road to take on another OAC team that Capital's quite familiar with from over the years, the rival, Otterbein. And the Cardinals, they were able to upend the Big Red in that one. That game coming back last Saturday, November 13th, by a final of 81-58. Leading scorer in Denison, or leading scorer in that game for Denison, I should say, was Darren Rubin. He had 9 points. Otterbein, meanwhile, had 4 players score in double figures. The co-scoring leaders in that game for the Cardinals were Cam Evans and Reed Black. We will see the Cardinals coming up here on December 4th. That will be part of a doubleheader for the women's team, which will play at 2 o'clock that afternoon, followed by the men's team that will play later on that night, beginning at 7 o'clock. But business to attend to here tonight for Capital as they look to improve to 3-1 overall on the season. Coming into this year, there was the coaches poll, and according to the OAC men's coaches poll, Marietta was picked to finish first in the conference, 81 total points, 9 first place votes. Among the coaches in the OAC, Mount Union picked to finish second. They had 1 first place vote. And then the rest of the order, according to the men's coaches poll, looks like this. Heidelberg got the 3rd spot. John Carroll was picked to finish 4th. Ohio Northern was picked to finish 5th. Capital and Baldwin Wallace each had 35 points in the coaches poll. Both those teams were tied for 6th. Wilmington took the 8th spot with 26 points. And then Muskingum and Otterbein bringing up the rear, each with 23 points, according to the OAC men coaches poll. But then again, that's just a coaches poll. There are so many things that can happen during the course of a season. A key injury to a key player, a player that was not on everybody's radar but somehow rises to the occasion and becomes the big surprise of the season. Just so many factors that we'll have to keep our eye on as this season progresses. One thing is for sure, we are glad that basketball is back in action. If you recall last year, Capital was not able to finish their season due to COVID concerns. They couldn't even compete in the OAC men's basketball tournament. So I'm sure head coach Damon Goodwin and his team are just glad to get back onto the court, play the game that they love. Now, everybody's taking precautions. The crew here at Capital still is supposed to be wearing face masks. Everybody has to get tested per usual, like they did last year. But for the most part, it seems as though that we are getting back to normalcy, allowing more and more fans to come here to the Capital Center and watch Capital play some basketball. Hopefully we got a good one for you here tonight as Capital gets set to play host to the Denison Big Red. We will take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll introduce the starting lineups and, of course, the tip-off coming here at the Capital Center. Denison, Capital, coming up here on your home for Capital Men's Basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome to this presentation of Capital Men's Basketball here on athletics.capital.edu. Our very first time seeing the men's basketball team in action this season. Capital coming into this game with an overall record of 2-1. Meanwhile, the Denison Big Reds still looking for their first win of the young season. They come into this game at 0-2. Let's get to tonight's starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Big Red of Denison University. At forward, the 6'8" freshman from Willoughby, Ohio, number 0, Ricky Radke. At guard, the 6'1" sophomore from the Gem City of Dayton, Ohio, number 4, Darren Rubin. Also at guard, the 6'1" senior from Elmhurst, Illinois, number 5, Kevin Chang. At forward, the 6'4" freshman from Hudson, Ohio, number 35, Tyler Miller. And rounding out the starting five for the Big Red tonight is the 6'5" senior forward from Marin County, California, number 50, Omar Elliott Diab. The head coach of the Big Red in his second season at Denison, Chris Sullivan. And now your starting lineup for your Capital men's basketball program. Starting at guard, the 6' sophomore from Springfield, Ohio, number 1, David Sanford. Also at guard, the 6'3" senior from Euclid, Ohio, number 2, Keiondre Graves. At forward, the 6'7" freshman from Ottoville, Ohio, number 5, Ryan Seaver. Also at guard, the 6'3" senior from Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, number 12, Tyler Schreck. And rounding out the starting five tonight for Capital is the 6'1" freshman guard from Maria Stein, Ohio, number 3, Alex Iyink. The head coach of Capital in his 27th season here in Bexley, Mr. Damon Goodwin. Our head referee tonight is James Curran, and our umpires are Chris Nelson and Justin Carr. Denison in their red uniforms, white numbers outlined by black. Capital in their customary home grays. We are ready for some basketball here at the Capital Center. Wednesday night hoops here in Bexley, Ohio. We're underway at the Capital Center as the opening tip is won by Denison. The Big Reds still looking for their first win of the season. 0-2 coming into this contest. Ball passed off to Rubin. Rubin, the leading scorer, averaging just under 16 points per game. Drives in and misses the shot as the rebound is taken by Seaver. Pass quickly ahead. A drive to the hoop and a score for Alex Iyink, the freshman from Maria Stein, Ohio. Just like that, a 2-0 lead for Capital. And not even 30 seconds into the game. The Big Red now back with the basketball. Miller gets it off to Rubin on the right wing. Rubin will let loose a three, and he'll knock it down. A 3-2 lead for the Big Red. Rubin coming into this game shooting just 33% from three-point range. But rest assured, he'll jack up some shots from three. Speaking of three-pointers, a miss for Iyink as Denison pulls down the rebound. A drive from the corner, tough shot, and it's converted by Kevin Chang, the senior from Elmhurst, Illinois. That's about an hour drive west of Chicago. Jumper from the right elbow is good for David Sanford. Nice back and forth start so far in this game. Denison with a 5-4 lead. About a minute and a half into this game. Chang trying to drive against Keiondre. Now it's passed back outside to Rubin near midcourt. 16 on the shot clock for the Denison Big Red. Miller will pass off to Elliott Diab. And they try to go back to Miller, but a turnover. Graves comes up with a loose ball for Capital. Sanford. Now it's over to Seaver. Now in the hands of Iyink. Back to Sanford. 17 on the shot clock for David Sanford. Sanford back towards midfield, calls out the play, dribbles now to his right towards the top of the arc. Now we'll give off to Schreck. Back to Sanford. Sanford for three, and it rattles home from the left wing as Capital retakes the lead 7-5 with 17:40 to play in our first half. Back outside to Radke. Radke will drive on in, misses the bucket, but gets fouled. First foul of the night will belong to Tyler Schreck, his first, team's first. And now heading to the free throw line is Ricky Radke, 38% from the cherry stripe, although in fairness to him, he's only shot the ball 8 times from the free throw line. And that first shot looked pretty good as he knocks it home. One more free throw attempt upcoming for Radke, the freshman from Willoughby, Ohio. Right-handed shooter is Radke. The shot is up, and that's no good. So Radke splits the pair at the line as Schreck grabs himself a rebound. Schreck, meanwhile, trying to drive, twisting, turning. Now back out to Seaver. Now it's over to Sanford. Sanford will pass it off to Iyink. They'll go inside to Graves. Graves trying to go baseline, but cut off. Now inside, Schreck passes out of a double team. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Graves down the lane. Tough shot. No good. Schreck with the offensive board. 18 now on the shot clock for Capital. Sanford trying to drive inside, but cut off by Chang. 10 on the shot clock. Sanford, tough jumper. No good, and the rebound is grabbed by Radke of Denison. Big Red back the other way. Rubin near the top of the arc. Guarded by Sanford. Tries to pass, but it's tipped away by Schreck. Graves comes away with it for Capital. Graves, tough shot from the left elbow, and he knocks it down. A 9-6 lead for Capital as we approach 16 and a half to play in our first half. Elliot Diab dribbling and then passing off to Miller. Miller near the top of the arc. Back to Elliot Diab, but tipping it out of bounds is Schreck. Nice active hands by Tyler Schreck. And now we have a couple of substitutions for Denison. Coming in for the Big Red is Cameron Smith, freshman from Cleveland, as well as Freeman Brew, a senior from Fountain City, Indiana. Checking out for Denison is Kevin Chang and Omar Elliott Diop. 8 on the shot clock for Denison. They'll go inside to the recently inserted Brew. Brew gets his man in the air and converts the jump hook. Brings Denison to within 8. A 9-8 lead for Capital as we tick under 16 minutes to play in our first half. Sanford passing off to Iyink. Iyink over to Seaver. Hands off to Graves. Back outside. Three-pointer for Iyink, and he swishes it through from the right wing. 12-8 advantage for Capital. About 15 and a half to play. Sanford nearly with a steal, but Rubin gets it back. And now a layup converted by Cameron Smith. As Smith got free on the baseline. Cuts the Capital lead to 2. 12-10 in favor of the purple and white. Sanford near the top of the arc. Floater in the lane. No good as it just rolled off the lip. Back to Sanford, and it's good. Nice offensive rebound by Schreck. Able to easily feed Sanford. And Sanford was able to right that wrong after the missed shot. But coming right back is Darren Rubin. Back to a 2-point advantage for Capital, 14-12. 14:52 left to play in the first half. Looks like a couple substitutes are being set to come out onto the court for Capital. In the meantime, Schreck trying to do some business on the left block. 10 seconds, Schreck driving and scoring. Nice reverse layup by Tyler Schreck. Back up to 4 goes the lead for Capital. 16-12 in favor of Cap. Rubin, top of the arc, being guarded by Graves. Rubin will now hit a 3, and it's good. A little miscommunication defensively between Keiondre Graves and Schreck that time, and Rubin was able to take advantage with a shot from the perimeter. Graves, meanwhile, drives in, picks up the loose ball that was nearly stolen away by Radke. Jumper, no good, and the rebound is taken by Denison's Tyler Miller. Rubin for 3, and he knocks it down. He's starting to feel it. Denison now with their first lead of the game, 18-16 in favor of the Big Red. Graves Left wing, dribbling to his right. Passes off to Sanford. Sanford tries a step back three, and it's good. Actually, they'll mark that down as a 2. Ties the game at 18. 13:26 left to play. Ball will go out of bounds, and they will say Capital basketball. So they will try to feed the big man that time. Kevin Chang, Scotty Dean. And Emmett Burnside check in for Denison. Meantime, Caleb Crawford checks in for Capital. Also checking in Joe Thompson, as well as Dom Mogerly. Seaver to Caleb Crawford. Seaver from the corner, no good. And the rebound, it will be saved by Denison, but it'll end up going off the foot of Cameron Smith, although he is desperately pleading his case that it actually went off of a Capital player. In any case, it will go to Capital. The inbound successful, jumper no good for Dom Mogerly, the freshman from Akron. Tied game, 18 all between Denison and Capital. 12:45 left to go in the first half, I should say. Chang trying to drive against Iyink. He'll now pass it outside. A drive now by Smith. Smith cut off. Back out to Chang for three, and Chang knocks it down. Both teams doing a nice job from three-point land so far as Denison goes back up by 3. 12:20 left to play in the first half. Now let's see what Capital can do for a response here as Mogerly will pass off. Three-pointer, that's no good. Mogerly trying to get the offensive board, but slips from his hands, and Emmett Burnside grabs it for Denison. They go quickly back the other way. Missed shot for Scotty Dean, but an offensive rebound by Brew, and Brew's jumper is true. And now a timeout will be taken by Capital. We'll take a timeout along with them. 11:59 to play in the first half. The score, Denison 23, Capital 18. This is your home for Capital Men's Basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Well, an entertaining first half so far as Denison finds themselves leading Capital by a score of 23-18 with just under 12 minutes to play here in the first half. A pass over to Joe Thompson, now in the hands of Iyink. Iyink on the left wing with 15 to shoot. Mogerly off to Thompson. Now over to Seaver for three. That is good. That hit off the back iron, but then a careful roll into the basket. Capital will certainly take that as they cut the Big Red lead to 2. 23-21 in favor of Denison. Dean, the freshman from Chicago, passes off into the corner for Smith. Now another three for Chang. That is an air ball, but it is saved by Emmett Burnside into Brew. Brew's jump hook. That is no good. And the rebound corralled by Mogerly, who's able to pass it off. Here comes Capital the other way. They'll go inside to Thompson. Back out to Seaver. Now in the hands of Crawford on the left wing. 13 to shoot for Capital. Over to the right wing they go to Iyink. To Seaver. Seaver, three-pointer is good. Capital by 1, 24-23. Approaching 10.5 to play in this first half. Burnside trying to dribble in. Now they go back outside. Another three-pointer. No good for Denison as the rebound is taken by Crawford off of the miss by Scotty Dean. Meantime, Crawford the other way. Jumper no good, but he gets his own miss. Back outside. Another drive. And now a foul is going to be called against Denison. Looks like the foul will go against Emmett Burnside, the sophomore from Wilmette, Illinois. That's his first foul, team's first. And a slew of substitutions for both teams. Ryan Roth checks in for Capital. Checking back in for Capital is Tyler Schreck. And back in for the Big Red, Omar Elliott Diab. Meantime, Mogerly to Schreck. Schreck, a little spin move, but cut off, 8 to shoot. Thompson lets loose a 3. That is an air ball, no good, and the rebound's taken by Darren Rubin, who's also come back into the game for Denison. Rubin on the right wing. He's been the story so far in this game. 11 points, a perfect 3 for 3 from three-point range. Rubin drives in and doesn't score. How do you like that? He's been red hot from 3, but he misses the bunny right there. And a great pass inside as Crawford was able to find a cutting Schreck for 2. 26-23 lead for Capital. 9:23 left to play in the first half. Dean passing off to Chang. Chang drives in, rejected by Schreck. Here comes Capital the other way. Roth from 3. No good, and the rebound is taken by Ricky Radke. Chang now looking to settle things down for Denison as he will dribble off the right wing. 8:54 remaining in the first half. A 26-23 lead for Capital. Rubin coming off the screen, and he nails another 3. Rubin, a perfect 4 of 4 from downtown. And just like that, we're tied once again, this time at 26. 8:37 left to play in the first half. Schreck inside. And Graves Crawford, able to easily score. Capital once again by 2. Seaver to Radke. Now Dean on the left wing, 15 to shoot. Back over to Radke. Radke being guarded by Thompson. And Thompson comes up with the steal. Crawford, cross half court. Barking out the play as he settles at the top of the arc. Crawford waiting for people to move. Finally gets it over to Roth. Now inside to Thompson. Back out to Schreck. 12 to shoot. Schreck driving layup off the glass and in. And a timeout will be taken by Denison. We'll take a timeout as well. 7:47 left to play in the first half. It's Capital 30, Denison 26. This is Capital Men's Basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Back here at the Capitol Center, 7:47 left to play in our first half. And boy, it's been a good game so far between Capital and the Denison Big Red. Leading scorer for Capital is David Sanford. He's got 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting from the field, including a made three-pointer. Denison, meanwhile, being paced by Darren Rubin with 14 points. He's 5 of 7 from the field and a perfect 4 of 4 from downtown. They pass off to Gates Flynn, who has recently checked in. Tyler Miller back in for the Big Red as well. Miller trying to put Schreck on skates, but Schreck ain't buying it. Now over to Rubin. Rubin dribbling to his right, to the right wing. 3 on the shot clock. Rubin, tough shot, and he somehow gets it to go. 16 points for Rubin as he cuts the Capital lead to 2, 30-28, with 7:09 to play in the first half. Three-pointer on the way. Keiondre, no good, and the rebound taken by Miller of Denison. Darren Rubin, the sophomore from Dayton, Ohio, launches another 3, and that's no good as Schreck grabs himself a rebound. Up ahead to Sanford. Sanford finishes at the other end. 11 points. Sanford becomes the first double-digit scorer of the night for Capital. 32-28 lead for Cap with 6.5 to play in what has been a very competitive first half. Roth with good defense. Racky now passing it off to Rubin. Rubin being picked up defensively by Graves. Double team. Rubin able to pass out of it. Nearly lost by Elliott Diab. Diab shot. No good. Rebound taken by Tyler Schreck. Schreck looking up court. Crosses half court. Over to Roth. Roth for three. No good. And the rebound is taken by Omar Elliott Diab. Senior out of Marin County, California. And a drive inside. Roth with defense, but not good enough as Gates Flynn, the freshman from Cincinnati, able to score for Denison. 32-30 lead for Capital. 5:44 left to play in the first half. Roth passing out of trouble. Swung around to Sanford on the right wing. Sanford dribbling to his left. Kills his dribble, now passing off to Schreck. Schreck near the right block. Turnaround, drives in, and he misses the shot. But Graves digs out the offensive board. Now a three-pointer. No good for Gerber. And the rebound, let's see, goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Capital. Checking back in for the Big Red. Looks like Cameron Smith, along with Emmett Burnside and Freeman Brew. Iyink in there for Capital. Now they pass over to Graves on the right wing. 17 to shoot for Capital. Iyink over to Schreck. David Sanford. Sanford now back over to Gerber. Inside, Gerber to the hole, and he scores. Nate Gerber, sophomore out of Laddie, Ohio, gets on the score sheet and increases the Capital lead to 4. 34-30 in favor of Cap. Drive on the inside. Shot, no good, but a foul is going to be called against Tyler Schreck. And that is his second foul, only the team's second. And Schreck will probably have to go to the bench for an extended period of time here as we continue to inch closer and closer to halftime. Meanwhile, heading to the free throw line is Gates Flynn. And this is his first free throw attempt of the season. And, boy, it hit about every part of the rim and somehow finds a way to go down. As the substitution is made by Capital, Ryan Seaver checks in for Cap. So one more free throw attempt for Gates Flynn, the freshman out of the Queen City of Cincinnati. Attended Summit Country Day High School as he misses the second free throw. So he splits the pair. It's a 3-point lead for Capital, 34-31, 4:48 to play in the first half. Sanford driving in, and now a foul will be called against Denison. They'll call Dre Rogers, the freshman from South Euclid, Ohio, on the foul. That's his first, team second. Three-pointer on the way, and it's knocked down by Ryan Seaver. 5-point lead now for Capital. 4:35 left to play in the first half. And now a double dribble will be called against Joey Bruno, the sophomore out of Youngstown. Inbounded to Sanford. Sanford on the right wing, passing off to Iyink. Over to Dom Morgley, to Sanford. Sanford drives out of the corner. Jumper, that's no good, and the rebound is taken by Emmett Burnside of Denison. Burnside will quickly feed it ahead to Cameron Smith. Back to Burnside. Burnside gets his man up in the air into the lane, and trying to throw down was Freeman Brew, but he got rejected near the rim. Unfortunately for Capital, a foul is called against Cap. Actually, they'll say that the ball went out of bounds. Denison ball, 19 to shoot for the Big Red. They'll inbound it to Freeman Brew. Now it's back out to Chang. Chang top of the arc. Over to Burnside. Back inside to Brew. Brew puts it up and in. A 36-33 lead for Capital. 3:45 left to play in what has been a very entertaining first half. Gerber falls down, and he got pushed by Freeman Brew. That'll be Brew's first foul. Team's third. Actually, my mistake. That is Brew's second foul, bringing the team total up to 4 for Denison. Passed in. Alex Iyenk. Now over to Dom Mogerly. Now in the hands of Sanford. Sanford over to Iyenk. Iyenk driving in, cut off near the baseline. 4 on the shot clock. Capital's got to get a shot off here. Turnaround 3, no good. And the rebound taken by Denison's Emmett Burnside. 36-33 lead for Capital. 3:10 left to go in our first half. Burnside inside, driving towards the hoop. Rejected by Ryan Seaver, who came swooping in from behind to reject the shot by Burnside. Ball goes out of bounds, and it will remain with Denison. 14 to shoot for the Big Red. Inbounded successfully to Burnside. Hand off to Smith. Now back out to Rubin. Rubin's had the hot hand tonight. They go to the corner. Burnside for 3. That's no good, but Smith digs out the offensive board for Denison, and now he'll throw it off the leg of Sanford as the Big Red will continue to possess the basketball. 18 to shoot for Denison. 2:49 left to play in the first half. A 36-33 lead for Capital. Smith will inbound it right in front of the Capital bench. Over to Rubin. Now to Burnside. Swung around to Chang. Chang top of the arc. 9 to shoot for the Big Red. Chang trying to drive. A kick to the corner. A 3. That is an air ball. But an offensive board by Burnside. And then a feed. Chang converts the bucket. And a foul. Dom Mogerly was late defensively, and he paid the price right there. And so now Kevin Chang will head to the free throw line. His first shot is one shot I should say, no good. By the way, the third team foul on Capital after that foul on Dom. 36-35, lead for Capital. Drive inside, and Iyenk is able to convert. Alex Iyenk, the freshman from Maria Stein, Ohio, lengthens the Capital lead to 3, 38-35 as we rapidly approach 2 minutes to go in the first half. Over to Radke, 14 to shoot for the Big Red. Radke almost losing it, and Cameron Smith able to pick it up for the Big Red. He'll drive inside, and he'll miss. Rebound taken by Ryan Seaver. Capital looking to push. To Iyenk. Seaver for 3. Bullseye! 41-35 lead for Capital. 1:40 to play in the first half. Seaver now with 11 points on the night, joining Sanford in double figures on Capital. Rubin, deep 3, and he nails it. Darren Rubin is on fire tonight for the Big Red. 19 points, a perfect 5 of 5 from three-point land. Driving inside and scoring is Iyenk. 43-38 lead for Capital. We go under a minute to play. Rubin missing the layup, and the rebound taken by Cap. Bounced over to Iyenk, and Iyenk turns it over, trying to get it over to Sanford, but Radke's able to pick off the pass. 40 seconds and counting in the first half. 43-38 lead for Capital. Turnaround jumper is good for Darren Rubin. He's now got 21. 28 seconds and counting, about a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. So now Sanford will take his time, dribbling near midcourt. 13 to shoot for Capital. Sanford still not in any big hurry. Sanford now getting things going. Launches a three, and it's good. Nothing but net for David Sanford. And a near steal for Capital. Shot at the buzzer. That's no good for Cam Smith. And that is how the first half will end. Boy, very entertaining first half between Cap and the Big Red. At the half, it'll be Capital leading Denison by a score of 48-40. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll update you with scores around the OAC, as well as some scores involving top 25 teams at the Division I level. At the half, Capital leading Denison 48-40. This is your home for Capital Men's Basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Halftime at the Capitol Center. The score, Capital 48, Denison 40. In a moment, we'll take a look at the stats from this game, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get you caught up with action around the OAC. Earlier this week, beginning on Monday, Wilmington fell to Olivet by a final score of 86-65. Meanwhile, Baldwin-Wallace with an 85-69 triumph over La Roche. And then a few more OAC teams in action last night. Ohio Northern beating Manchester. They nipped Manchester by a final of 87-85. Meanwhile, Muskingum falls to the Battling Bishops of Ohio Wesleyan by a final of 86-82. There's only one other game involving an OAC team tonight, and that would be the Heidelberg Princes. They are playing host to Bluffton on this Wednesday evening, and right now 5:25 left to play in that first half. It is Heidelberg who leads Bluffton by a score of 27-17. Leading the Student Princes in scoring in that game is Seth Homan. He has got 8 points early on for the Student Princes. Coming up later on this week, tomorrow night as a matter of fact, Otterbein making the long trek up to Cleveland to take on Case Western Reserve. And then a whole bunch of OAC teams in action on Friday night. Wilmington plays host to La Roche in an afternoon affair. John Carroll will welcome in Madale. Marietta will play host to Wabash starting at 7:30. And Ohio Northern, they will be on the road at Buffalo State. And then to round out this complete week, a very busy slate coming up on Saturday. Muskingum plays host to Trine at 1 o'clock. Wilmington will play host to Hendricks beginning at 1 o'clock, that being a part of the Ohio Great Lakes Invitational, which will be hosted by Marietta this year. Capital will be on the road. They will be taking on Kalamazoo up in Michigan. That game is scheduled for a 1 o'clock start. Ohio Northern will play Madale at 2 o'clock, as the Polar Bears have to travel all the way up to Buffalo, New York for that one. John Carroll will take on Buffalo State beginning at 2. Heidelberg will be playing an exhibition game against the Miami Redhawks from the Mid-American Conference. That's a 2 o'clock game. Baldwin-Wallace playing host to Hamilton at 2. Mount Union welcoming in the Bulldogs of Adrian beginning at 4. And finally, Marietta taking on Randolph-Macon beginning at 7:30. So those are going to be all the OAC games coming up later this week. We pivot from Division III now to Division I. Want to get you updated with scores involving top 25 teams at the Division I level. Only a couple games being played right now. 23rd ranked Connecticut entertaining Long Island University tonight, and so far the Huskies looking pretty good. They lead LIU by a score of 38-22 as that game has just gone to halftime up in Storrs, Connecticut. Meantime, they're approaching halftime at Maryland. The 20th ranked Terrapins are in a dogfight apparently with George Mason as the Patriots find themselves tied with the Terps 27-all 2:53 left to play in the first half of that game. Maryland expected to be one of the contenders in what will end up being a loaded Big Ten Conference this upcoming season. Coming up later on tonight, 9th ranked Baylor plays host to Central Arkansas. Speaking of teams from Arkansas, the Razorbacks, who find themselves ranked 16th in the country. They will welcome in Northern Iowa at 8 o'clock as well. At 8:30, 8th ranked Texas will play host to Northern Colorado. And finally, coming up at 10:30 p.m., the 2nd ranked UCLA Bruins will welcome in the Ospreys of North Florida, as the Bruins have gotten off to a nice start, 3-0 so far in the young 2021-2022 campaign. So just a couple of scores, couple of games that will be taking place across Division I later on this evening. Another quick break. When we come back, we will examine the stats from our first half. The score, Capital 48, Denison 40. This is your home for Capital Men's Basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Back here at the Capitol Center, Capital enjoying a 48-40 lead over Denison here at the break. Now let's go ahead and get to the statistics from this game. We begin with the team stats. Let's begin with Denison. The Big Reds shot 52% from the field. They go a scorching 6 of 10 from three-point range, good for 60%. And 5 trips to the free throw line for Denison in that first half, although they were only able to connect on 2 of those shots, good for 40%. Meanwhile, Capital shooting 55% from the field, 6 of 15 from three-point land, good for 40%. And get this, not one single shot from the free throw line for Capital, none whatsoever. Hopefully Capital can reverse that trend coming up here in the second half. Other statistics of note, Capital out-rebounding Denison 16-15, each team with 4 offensive rebounds. Capital has held the lead for the vast majority of this game, a little over 14 and a half minutes of this game. Denison's only held the lead for a little over 3 minutes. Assists, Capital 13, Denison 6. 6 turnovers for the Big Red, only 1 for Cap. Bench points, 11 for the Big Red, 6 for Cap, 3 blocks for Cap, No blocks for the Big Red. Fast break points, 13-2 in favor of Cap. Steals, 4-1 in favor of the purple and white. Points off turnovers, 9-2 in favor of Cap. Points in the paint, double for Capital over Denison, 24-12. In that statistical category, that's a good stat to have an advantage in. Second chance points, 6-4 in favor of Denison. And finally, personal fouls, 4 for Capital, 3 for the Big Red in that first half of play. So those are the team statistics. Now on to the individual statistics of this game. Let's begin with Denison. In that first half of play, boy, what a shooting night for Darren Rubin. He's got 21 points. In 15 minutes of play, he has shot 8 of 12 from the field. That's good for 67%. And he's got a perfect 5 of 5 from downtown as well. What a first half for Darren Rubin. And boy, where would Denison be without this guy? He played a big role for the Big Red. It's going to be key for Capital to limit his offensive efficiency in the second half. Other scores of note for Denison, only 1 point for Ricky Radke, who came in averaging 10 points per game. Only 1 point for the freshman forward from Willoughby, Ohio. 7 points for Kevin Chang. 2 points for Cameron Smith. 3 points for Gates Flynn. And 6 points for Freeman Brew. Those are the only scores for Denison from the first half. Meantime, for Capital, they were able to spread the scoring around a little bit more. Let's start with David Sanford. Leads all scorers for Capital with 14 points. He has shot 6 of 9 from the field, including a perfect 2 of 2 from 3-point range. He has had a very efficient time shooting the basketball so far tonight, already up over his season average of 13.7 points per game. The other double-digit scorer for Capital, that happened to be Ryan Seaver. Seaver with 11 points in that first half of play, shooting 4 of 5 from the field, and a rather impressive 3 of 4 from 3-point range, good for 75%. Other scorers of note for Capital in that first half. 6 points for Tyler Schreck, who also has 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He continues to stuff the stat sheet for this Capital team so far this season. 2 points for Keiondre Graves, another guy who is on the precipice of joining Sanford and Seaver when it comes to double-digit scores is Alex Iank. The freshman from Maria Stein, Ohio, had 9 points in that first half for Cap. And then the rest of the scorers for Capital, Caleb Crawford had 2 points for Dom Mogerly. And finally, 2 points for Nate Gerber. So those are your statistics from the first half. Good back and forth game so far between both of these teams. Just a little more scoring for Capital to end that first half. I really like how Cap has really come out and shared the basketball. There's been good ball movement on the offense. Defensively for Capital, I hate to boil it down just to one simple thing, but I think if you can not shut down Darren Rubin but limit him in the second half, Capital might be well on its way to its third win of the Young 2021-2022 campaign. But first, they got a second half to play here at the Capital Center. We'll take another break. When we come back, the start of the second half between Capital and Denison. This is your home for Capital men's basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Back here at the Capitol Center, we are moments away from starting the second half between Denison and Capitol. It is Capitol who will possess a 48-40 lead over the Big Red coming out of halftime, and we want to give you a little preview of the upcoming schedule for Capitol. They will be on the road coming up on Saturday. They got to make the trek all the way up to Michigan to take on Kalamazoo. That game is scheduled for a 1 o'clock start. And then the Purple and White will be back at it here at the Capitol Center Sunday, November 28th. So that will be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Then welcome in Manchester, part of the Zach Hollingsworth Remembrance Game. Zach Hollingsworth, a former member of the Capitol men's basketball program that unfortunately tragically passed away earlier this year. After that home game against Manchester, it's the rivalry game coming up on December 4th. Otterbein pays a visit to battle the Purple and White. The men's game for that day is scheduled for 7 p.m. The women's game that day is scheduled for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We hope that you will join us for both of those broadcasts on that first Saturday in the month of December. Both teams getting back on the floor. 20 more minutes of regulation basketball here at the Capitol Center. It's Capitol 48, Denison 40 coming out of halftime. Let the second half begin. Graves on the right wing, passing off to Alex Iyink. Now to Sanford inside, and Iyink making the catch. Now a pass over to Schreck. Iyink just wasn't able to time his jump all that well towards the rim. Schreck, meantime, twisting, turning, off the glass and in. Tyler Schreck with a bucket. Nice start offensively for Capitol as they increase their lead to 10, their largest of the game. Elliot Diab on the right wing. They'll go inside to Radke. Radke shot no good, but a foul is going to be called, looks like, against Ryan Seaver. That's going to be Seaver's first foul of the game, team's first here in the second half. Radke's first shot from the foul line is no good. 38% free throw shooter coming in to play tonight. One more free throw attempt for Radke. The shot is up, and that one is good. 9-point advantage for Capitol as we are just underway here in the second half. Sanford to Graves. Now passing over to Iyink. Iyink on the left wing. Over to Sanford. Sanford dribbling to his right. Inside. Schreck gets his man up in the air, then scores. 52-41. Capitol now with an 11-point lead. Pass outside to Chang. Chang dribbling to his right. Double teamed. Passes out of it to Radke. Cross court, almost stolen away by Iyink. Now a drive inside, no good for Miller, and it'll go out of bounds, and the ball will be given to Capitol. So 2 buckets by Tyler Schreck to begin the second half of play. And Capitol finds themselves leading Denison by a score of 52-41. Right now, Capitol shooting a sizzling 58% from the field. Head coach Damon Goodman has really got to like the ball movement, the shot selection. Everything about his offense has functioned very well here tonight. Schreck driving inside, off the glass, count the bucket, and a foul. Great move down the lane for Tyler Schreck as he was able to initiate the contact from Omar Elliott Diab. That'll be his first foul of the game. Team's first of the half, that being Denison. And now Schreck will head to the foul line to try to complete the and-one, but first, a substitution as Freeman Brew will check in for the Big Red. And now Schreck will have a chance to finish here at the free throw line. 71% free throw shooter coming into play tonight. Shot is up, and it'll rattle home. 3-point play completed by Schreck. 55-41 now in favor of Capitol as Schreck has come out on fire to begin the second half. Drive inside and score by Kevin Chang. That was a nice find that time by Freeman Brew, the big man. Sanford over to Schreck. Schreck trying to feed it inside to Graves. Graves had trouble handling it, so he'll dribble out to the perimeter, and Capital will reset. Now they go back inside the Schreck. Schreck trying to back his man down near the left block. Couple dribbles. 1, 2, head fake. Shot, no good, and the rebound taken by Brew. Chang on the right wing has the ball nearly poked away, and then a foul will be called against Capital. First foul of the night for David Sanford. His first, team second of the half, as Chang will inbound it from the far side. He'll get it into Darren Rubin, who so far has gotten off to an auspicious start here in the first half after being so hot in the second half. Here comes Schreck the other way on a steal. And Rubin will foul him, and Schreck will head to the foul line. First foul of the night for Darren Rubin. Second team foul against the Big Red here in the second half. So now Schreck will head to the foul line. Schreck with 13 points in this game. First foul shot, no good. He'll get one more attempt at the foul line. Shooting 6 of 8 from the field so far tonight. 5 assists, 5 rebounds as well. The shot is up, and it's no good. Schreck goes over at the foul line. 55-43 advantage for Capital. 17-21 to play in the second half. They'll go inside to Brew. Brew twisting, turning, shot up is no good, and the rebound finally taken by Sanford for Capital. Sanford will push ahead to Iyink. Iyink down the lane, shot blocked, out of bounds by Miller. And so Capital will maintain possession here. Sanford will inbound it from the baseline. He'll get it in successfully to Schreck. Over to Sanford at the top of the arc, now in the hands of Iyink. They'll go inside to Schreck, working against Brew. Schreck back outside to Graves. 8 on the shot clock. Over to Iyink, and a turnover as Racky picks off the pass for Denison. Rubin on the right wing, back over to Radke. Radke driving home, and a foul is going to be called. Foul will be called against Alex Iyink, his first, team's third. Ricky Radke once again going to the foul line tonight. Radke so far 2 of 4 from the charity stripe. 5th shot of the night from that spot on the floor is good. And now a couple substitutions for Capital. Tom Mogerly. Joe Thompson will check in, as well as Caleb Crawford. Meanwhile, one more free throw upcoming for Radke. Radke's shot is up, and it is no good. The rebound is taken by Capital's Joe Thompson. Thompson, a junior out of Galloway, Ohio. Crawford dribbling to his right, trying to probe that Denison defense. Now over to Iyink. Iyink, top of the arc, passed off to Seaver. Now inside to Thompson. Thompson trying to make a move outside. Seaver for 3. Now rattles in and out for Seaver, as the rebound is taken by Rubin. Pushed ahead to Chang. Now inside to Brew. Brew quickly backing his man down. Jump hook is good. I'll tell you what, that jump hook has been pretty solid for Freeman Brew, the senior from Fountain City, Indiana. When he's able to get that shot off cleanly, it can be lethal. 55-46 lead for Capital. 15:50 left to play in the second half. Crawford, double team, back outside. 3-pointer for Seaver. It's good. The lead back up to 12 for Cap. 58-46 in favor of the purple and white. Chang. Now they go inside to Brew. Brew lost it, and Seaver comes away with a steal. Crawford up ahead for Capital. He'll drive in, and his shot is blocked by Radke. Out of bounds, they give it to Capital. A substitution for Denison is Cameron Smith will check in for Chang. And then another substitution for the Big Red. Checking in for Denison, Scotty Dean, the freshman from Chicago. Into Joe Thompson. Jumper, good for Caleb Crawford, the sophomore from Cincinnati. 60-46 lead as Capital continues to pull away from the Big Red. Three-pointer for Brew, and the big man knocks it down from the top of the arc. 60-49 lead for Capital as we tick under 15 minutes to play in the second half. Crawford nearly has his pocket pick, but able to keep possession for Capital. Passing off to Iyink. Iyink dribbling around, waiting for somebody to get open. As Thompson over to Seaver. Seaver, floater inside, off the glass and in. 62-49 lead for Capital. They'll immediately go inside to Radke. Radke scores. 62-51, the lead for Capital up to 11. Under 14 and a half to play in the second half. Near steal that time, but Iyink keeps it. Iyink, tough shot, no good, but then a late foul is called against Freeman Brew. That's his third personal foul, and team's third for Denison here in the second half. And so now Alex Iyink, the freshman from Maria Stein, Ohio, heading to the free throw line. Iyink shooting 64% from the foul line. Attended Marion Local High School. That is a high school that boasts one of the best high school football programs in the entire state of Ohio. As the shot is up and good for Iyink. Tyler Schreck, meantime, checks back in for Capital. Coming in for the Big Red is Emmett Burnside. One more free throw attempt for Iyink. Made his first. Second is good as well. 13-point lead for Capital. 64-51. 14-10 left to play in the first half. Rubin. Over to Brew. Poked away, out of bounds. Denison will keep possession, but nice defense that time by Joe Thompson as he redirected the pass with his right hand. Denison will quickly inbound it to Rubin. Rubin near half court. 12 to shoot for Denison. Rubin on the left wing. Over to Brew. Brew will drive inside. Shot fake, shot up. No good. Out of bounds. And they will give it to Capital. And now a substitution for Denison. Rubin will check out, and Kevin Chang will check back in. And it has been a quiet second half for Rubin. He has yet to score in the second half. He had 21 in the first, but not one bucket here in the second half. Meantime, Capital at the other end. Floater is good. Iyink getting the shooter's bounce that time. 66-51 lead now for Capital as we tick under 13 and a half to play in the second half. And the pass goes off the foot of a Capital player, out of bounds. As Denison will make another substitution. Tyler Miller, the freshman out of Hudson, Ohio. He'll check in for Brew. Cameron Smith will inbound to Burnside. Back to Smith on the right wing. 17 to shoot for Denison. Chang over to Dean. Dean now over to Chang. Chang dribbling to his right. Picked up by Graves. 5 to shoot. Kick to the outside. Three-pointer. No good. Shot then blocked by Schreck. Then a whistle. Shot clock violation. Very good defense right there by Capital as they get a hand from their head coach, Damon Goodman, in his 27th season here in Bexley. 66-51 lead for his Cap team. 12:51 left to play in the second half. Iyink on the right wing. Dribbling inside. Schreck missing the shot. No good. And the rebound taken by Denison's Emmett Burnside. Quickly up ahead to Chang. Chang looking to do something against Crawford, but Crawford doing a good job of cutting him off defensively. So Chang will have to retreat. 16 to shoot for the Big Red. They hand the ball to Miller. Miller on the right wing. 10 to shoot. Miller dribbling to his left. Over to Chang. 5 to shoot. Chang down the lane, misses the shot. Battle for the loose ball. Capital comes away with it. Joe Thompson grabs it. Up ahead to Iyek. Nice pass inside, but the shot not being able to convert by Dom Mogerly, but then a foul called on the inside. The foul will be called against Emmett Burnside. His second personal foul. Team's fourth. And now heading to the free throw line is Dom Mogerly. As this shot is no good. Coming back into the game for Capital, Keiondre Graves, Ryan Seaver. One more free throw for Mogerly. It's up and it's good. 67-51 lead for Capital. Coming up on the 12-minute mark here in the second half. Things looking pretty good for Capital. They got 4 players in double-digit scoring. Meantime, shot for 3. Rubin knocks it down. Once again from three-point range. He is 6 of 6 from three-point land. Boy, Denison's got themselves a good player in that Rubin kid. 67-54 lead for Capital. Graves with a tough drive, rejected by Burnside. Out of bounds, and they will give it to Capital as it went off of Burnside, who went tumbling into the stands to try to get it for the Big Red. 15 to shoot for Cap. Over to Crawford. Crawford on the left wing. Passing off to Keiondre Graves. Now over to Mogerly. Seaver for 3. That's well short. Rebound taken by Rubin for Denison. Rubin will take it across half court. Rubin, deep 3, and no good, but a foul is going to be called against Caleb Crawford. Second foul on Crawford tonight, team's 4th. So now 3 free throws upcoming for Darren Rubin. Attended Oakwood High School in the gem city of Dayton, Ohio. A 6'1" sophomore. Shot is up, and that is good on the season. Only 50%, but he's only gone to the free throw line a grand total of 2 times. Rubin so far on the night, 24 points. Shot is up. It is good. David Sanford will check back in for Capital. Ricky Radke back in for the Big Red. One more free throw for Rubin, as he will now attempt to bring the Big Red to within 10 of Capital. The shot is up, and it is good. 27 points for Darren Rubin, but his team still down by double digits, 67-57 to Capital. And a turnover by Graves. Rubin coming the other way, and he will put it up and in. The Capital lead cut to 8. Graves passing off. Jumper, no good. Mogerly had the rebound, but then lost it to Radke. And now here comes Denison. 67-59 lead for Capital. 10:40 to play. Loose ball. Seaver diving for it. Graves comes up with it as he bats it towards Thompson. Back to Graves. Over to Thompson. Joe for 3. Yes, it's good. Got the bounce off the front rim, and it goes down for the forward from Galloway, Ohio. 70-59 lead for Capital. But a little bit of a run here for the Big Red in the late going. Radke over to Smith. Smith on the left wing. He'll drive in and score. Cameron Smith, the freshman from Cleveland, Ohio. Cuts into that Capital lead. It's now 9. Sanford for 3. Rattles in and out, and Rubin grabs the rebound for Denison. Quickly ahead to Smith. Smith to the hoop. Shot no good, but he got fouled on his way to the 10. Foul will be called against David Sanford, his second personal foul, and team's 5th for Capital here in the second half. Smith at the foul line. Shot is up, and it is good. Schreck and Iyink check back in for Capital, who has had to withstand a little bit of a rally here by Denison. If Smith makes this shot, it's a 7-point lead for Capital, and he misses. So it remains an 8-point advantage for Capital. 9:45 left to go in regulation. Iyink on the left wing. Over to Sanford. Sanford trying to drive in. Tough shot. Sanford missed it. Gets his own miss. Back up. No good. Tipped around. And Denison finally grabs it. It's Rubin. And now a timeout is going to be taken by Denison. We'll take a timeout as well. 9:22 left to play in the second half. It's Capital 70, Denison 62. This is Capital Men's Basketball on athletics.capital.edu. .22 left to play in the second half. A little bit of a run being put on here by Denison as they have cut Capital's lead to 8. 4 scores in double figures for Capital, led by Ryan Seaver, who's got 16, 13 points for Alex Iyink, 14 points for David Sanford, and 13 points for Tyler Schreck. Denison with the basketball. Radke feeds inside. It goes off of everybody's feet, it seemed like, as it'll bounce out of bounds, and it will remain with Denison. The Big Red will have 15 to shoot. Cameron Smith, meantime, will inbound it from the baseline. Smith will get it in to Miller. And then the shot is good for Ricky Radke. 70-64 lead for Capital. And things starting to tighten up here at the Capital Center. Capital had been enjoying a double-digit lead for much of this half. But now all of a sudden, the run continues for the Big Red. Schreck on the right wing, passing off to Sanford. 5 to shoot. Sanford, jumper is good. 16 points for Sanford after that made shot from the right elbow. The lead back up to 8 for Capital. 72-64, 8.5 to play. Chang, long jumper off the side of the backboard. Schreck collects the loose ball for Capital. Iyink quickly down the lane, and an offensive foul is going to be called against Iyink. That's his second foul of the game. Nice job by Tyler Miller of standing his ground defensively, as Ryan Roth will check in for Capital. Saw a little bit of Roth in the second half, but not that much. Coach Goodwin hoping that Roth can provide a little offensive juice for Capital here in the second half. We know that he's a very good three-point shooter. 8:10 left to play in the second half. Capital 72, Denison 64. Darren Rubin inside to Radke. Now over to Brew. Brew off the glass. No good. Rebound taken by Seaver. And then a foul called against Denison. They'll get Radke for a reach-in foul. That's his first foul. Team's fifth here in the second half. Ball's inbounded to Sanford, who will bring it across the timeline. His team leading Denison 72-64. 7:49 left to play in the second half. Inside, Seaver finishes. Nice drive by Iyink, but then dropping it off to Seaver, who finishes with two more. The lead back up to 10 for Capital. Three-pointer, no good for Rubin, who went sprawling to the floor. And then a foul called against Capital's Ryan Seaver, who's absolutely incredulous. He thought he won that ball fair and square off the miss by Rubin. That'll be his second foul of the game. Team sixth. So now Ricky Radke will head to the foul line. First shot is up. That's no good. And that was the front end of a 1-and-1. So now Alex Iyink grabs the rebound for Capital. Here comes Cap the other way. Roth passing off to Alex Iyink. Sanford inside to Schreck. Schreck near the right block. Back out. Seaver. No good. Rebound taken by Brew. Rubin, cross half court, he'll drive inside, misses the shot, put back attempt, no good by Radke. Here comes Capital. Schreck, he loses it. Here comes Cameron Smith to the other end, and he'll lay it up and in. Capital 74, Denison 66. Iyink over to Schreck. Now in the hands of Roth. Seaver trying to back his man down with 12 to shoot. Now back outside to Sanford. 8 on the shot clock for Capital. Sanford will attempt to drive, a floater, good for Sanford. 18 points now for Sanford. The lead back up to 10, 6:15 to play. 2-point, no good by Rubin. Rebound taken by Capital. And now head coach Damon Goodman imploring his team to slow things down and work things out in the half court. Ryan Roth over to Iyink. Now to Sanford. 14 to shoot. To Schreck. Inside. All by his lonesome is Iyink, who easily converts. And now a timeout will be taken by Capital. 5:46 left to play in the second half. Capital 78, Denison 66. This is Capital Men's Basketball on athletics.capital.edu. .546 left to play in the second half. The score, Capital 78, Denison 66. 18 points apiece for David Sanford and Ryan Seaver. Both guys have been hot from three-point range. Seaver 4 of 8 from downtown. Sanford 2 of 3 from beyond 3. Denison, meantime, with possession. Rubin dribbling around. Top of the key. Drives in. Kicks to Cheng for 3. No good. Rebound taken by Schreck. And then a foul called against Denison. Looks like Brew is going to be hit with another foul. He was contending that it was a jump ball, but it'll go down as his 4th personal. Team 6 on Denison. Sanford will take the inbound, and he will jog up the floor across the timeline as Capital will now initiate the offense in the half court. Roth, top of the arc. Inside to Seaver, back over to Sanford. Now they go back inside to Seaver. And a foul will be called against Denison. They're going to say that Emmett Burnside lifted his leg a little too high that time as he was attempting to play defense in the post against Seaver. Burnside with his 3rd personal, team 7th. And so now a 1-and-1 situation upcoming here for Ryan Seaver, the freshman from Ottoville, Ohio. Shot is up and good, so he'll earn himself one more attempt at the free throw line. 2 substitutions for Denison. Checking in for the Big Red is Ricky Radke as well as Tyler Miller. Meantime, Seaver with a chance to boost this Capital lead to 14 if he makes this next free throw. The shot is up, and it is good. 80-66 in favor of Capital. A little over 5 minutes to play. Cheng dribbling to his right. He'll launch a 3. That's no good, and the rebound taken by Radke, and then a foul will be called against Capital. It's going to end up going against Schreck, his 3rd personal, team 7th. Actually, I take that back. Team's 8th on Capital. Ricky Radke has been having to make a lot of trips to the free throw line tonight. This is already his 8th shot from the foul line. Going 3 of 7 on his previous 7 shots. Misses his 8th. So now 3 of 8 from the charity stripe. Capital with a rebound. 80-66 lead for Cap. 4:45 left to play in regulation. Iyink passes back. Seaver now bouncing it into Schreck. 8 to shoot. Back outside to Iyink. Iyink driving and scoring. Nice drive to the hoop by Alex Iyink. 82-66 lead for Capital. Darren Rubin, meanwhile, double team, passing out of it to Radke. Radke will drive in, misses the shot. Schreck grabs another rebound for Capital. Schreck already with 10 boards. It's going along with 13 points, a double-double tonight for the senior from Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. Meanwhile, 13 to shoot for Capital. They'll go inside to Schreck. Back out to Roth. Back inside to Schreck. 8 to shoot. Schreck trying to back his man down. Back to Seaver. Seaver jump. Hook, no good. Rebound taken by Denison. Here come the Big Red the other way. Rubin getting his man up in the air. Then he has to kill his dribble. Then he passes to Cheng. Cheng will drive down the lane, trying to drop it off for a teammate. It's batted up in the air, and Schreck grabbed it, but a whistle. And they will say that the ball actually went out of bounds off of Schreck. No, they will say the ball went out of bounds, and it'll be Capital basketball. Chen trying to argue the point that Schreck actually threw it off the bottom of the backboard. And now there is discussion going on. Looks like with Chris Nelson and Justin Carr, they will change the call and they will give it to Denison. And now Damon Goodwin talking with one of the officials. And let's just say he is not happy about the reversal of the call. Chang will inbound it to Radke. Now over to Rubin. Rubin, top of the arc, over to the right wing. Rubin doing a little dance, driving and scoring. Darren Rubin with 31 points on the night. What a magnificent performance it's been for the sophomore from Dayton, Ohio. 82-68 lead for Capital meantime as we rapidly approach 3 minutes to play. Over to Schreck. Inside. Einig not able to get the bucket to go, and Rubin grabs the rebound for Denison. Really the first time we've seen Einig miss a shot from point-blank range, but it happens. Rubin over to Miller. Three-pointer now. Rubin off the mark. That's the first missed three-pointer of the night for Darren Rubin. Previously, he had been a perfect 6 of 6. Sanford, meantime, dribbling around. Einig passing off over to Roth. Now it's in the hands of Sanford. Sanford near the left wing. 9 on the shot clock. Sanford will drive down the lane and score. 20 points for David Sanford, matching Ryan Seaver, who's also got 20 points on the night. 84-68 lead. 2 minutes to go here at the Capitol Center. Blocked! A combined block by Seaver and Schreck, but Denison's able to save the ball. Rubin launches a jumper. That's no good, and Seaver grabs a rebound for Cap. Einig will take it across half court, and then a foul will be called against Denison. This one will go against Scotty Dean, his first of the game, team's 8th of the half. And now mass substitutions for Denison. Back in for the Big Red is Gates Flynn, along with Omar Elliott Diab and Emmett Burnside. So now Alex Einig will head to the foul line, but not before another substitution. This time Nate Gerber will check in for Capital, and Seaver will take a seat on the bench. Einig, meantime, working on an impressive game tonight. 17 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, as he knocks down the first free throw. So now make his point total 18. And now checking in for Capital is Trey Meister, along with Justin Nixon. Meister, a junior from Taylor Mill, Kentucky. Nixon, meantime, a freshman from Minster, Ohio. So one more free throw for Einig. Shot is up, and it is good. Just rolls over the front rim. 19 points now for Einig. An 86-68 lead for Capital. Joey Bruno, tough jumper, and it's good for the Denison sophomore from Youngstown. 86-70 lead for Capital. Minute 22 to go. Ryan Roth, meantime, driving to his right, and he is swiped by Gates Flynn, his second foul, team's 9th. Checking out is Alex Einig. He gets a good hand from his teammates and the crowd. Checking in for Capital, meantime, is Matt Doogie, a junior from Blacklick, Ohio. The shot is up for Roth. That's no good. And the rebound is taken by Denison. That being Scotty Dean. Gates Flynn driving in, will kick out. Three-pointer on the way, and that will switch through for Emmett Burnside. 1 minute remaining in the game now. Capital leading 86-73. Roth to Meister. Meister bouncing it over to Justin Nixon. Nixon over to Doogie. Doogie dribbling to his right. Poked away and stolen away by Burnside. Drops it off. And a foul down the lane. Heading out to the free throw line will be Joey Bruno. As the foul will go against Nate Gerber, his first of the game, team's ninth. Joey Bruno attended Campfield High School in the Youngstown area, as the shot is up and good for the 6'5" sophomore wing. One more free throw attempt upcoming here for Bruno. It is up, and it is good. Another substitute for Capital. Coming in for Cap is Jake Newcomb, the 6'9" freshman from Hillsdale, Michigan. .32 seconds and counting. Meister will bring it across half court. Bounced over to Nate Gerber. Now over to Doogie. Matt Doogie driving, wild shot. That's no good, but the offensive rebound corralled by Capital. And then after getting a couple of men up in the air, Nate Gerber earns himself a trip to the free throw line. Foul will go against Omar Elliott Diab, his second of the game, team's 10th. So Gerber's first shot from the foul line, that's no good. He'll get one more. Gerber, a sophomore from Laddie, Ohio. And he goes over. 0-2 from the foul line. 11 seconds and counting. Denison with the basketball. Dean launches a three. That's no good. Rebound taken by Burnside. Another three. That's no good by Bruno. And then another offensive board for Denison, but that's no good. And the game is over. Capital with a well-fought victory over Denison. Capital triumphs over the Big Red tonight by a final of 86-75. Stay tuned for our post-game coverage here at the Capitol Center as we recap what went on between Cap and the Big Red. Capital improves to 3-1 on the season. Meantime, Denison will drop to 0-3. We'll have the post-game coverage coming up here in just a moment. Again, the final score, Capital 86, Denison 75. This has been a presentation of Capital Men's Basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to the Capital Center, everyone, as Capital triumphs over Denison by a final of 86-75. And turns out we have a couple of guests in the booth tonight, a couple of young men who went off for some big games here tonight against the Big Red. We are starting with Ryan Seaver, freshman out of Ottoville, Ohio. Ryan, let me start with this. You're a freshman. This is your first year of playing college basketball. What's been the major adjustment that you've had to make going from high school to the collegiate level?
One big adjustment is just the pace of the game. It's a lot faster than some high school games, and also the physicality. There's a lot of bigger guys in college than in high school, and I think that's been the big adjustment for me at least.
You go for 20 points tonight, 4 of 8 from three-point range, 7 of 12 from the field. Looks like you really settled in tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to get into a rhythm early. Last couple games I felt like I didn't shoot the ball as well as I could have. So tonight I was just looking to get in a rhythm early, and that's what happened.
You were one of 4 double-digit scorers tonight for Capital. Seemed like the offense was making good decisions with the basketball, good ball movement. Talk to me about the offense and how it operated tonight.
Yeah, we look for a lot of spacing. We got a lot of unselfish guys. We don't really, it doesn't really matter who's leading the scoring. As long as we get good shots, good possessions, and we got a lot of those tonight.
You had to go up against a Denison team that had a really hot shooter tonight in Darren Rubin. I thought you guys did a tremendous job of at least limiting him in the second half compared to what he did in the first half. Did you figure things out after halftime? Were you able to lock things down defensively in your mind?
Yeah, we definitely had to make some adjustments. He got off to a fast start. He's a really good player. He can shoot pretty much. He got in the gym range, I'd say. And we just had to contain him. Let other people shoot it.
All right,
limit him a little bit.
Thank you so much for joining us. Pass that headset off to your teammate. That being Alex Iyenk. He also has a good game tonight for Capital. 19 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point range. The freshman from Maria Stein, Ohio. Alex, I'll ask you the same question. You're a freshman. Going from high school to college, I'm sure it's a major adjustment in terms of speed and strength and all that stuff. So how has the transition been for you so far?
Yeah, absolutely. The game is evolving. It's really a guards game. They really love to push it, and we're playing on a 90-foot floor as a college compared to high school, and that's just much more you got to run. It's a fast-paced game.
You go for 19 points. Didn't really shoot it all that much from three compared to some of your other teammates, including Mr. Seaver, who's standing right behind me. But you go 7 to 10 from the field. Again, I thought the offense operated really, really well. Good ball movement. Was that a point of contention or a point that Coach Goodwin was trying to drive to you guys?
Absolutely. We're a team that we like to space it out and make plays and kick to the open guy, and we got a bunch of unselfish players, and that's what we had. That's why we had 4 guys with double digits tonight, because it don't matter who score. As long as it goes in the bucket, we're all happy. So
your teammate, Ryan, goes for 20 points. Also going for 20 is David Sanford. He's gotten off to a nice start here offensively. He was the leading scorer coming in to play tonight. And I thought he played a really key role for you guys as Denison was making a little bit of a run there in the second half. He made some timely shots for you guys.
Absolutely. He's a tough player. Some may say he's a little undersized, but he does not play that way. He plays with heart. He's a good ball player. And if he needs to take the game in his hands, he absolutely will.
How does it feel to get off to a good start, 3-1? That has to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing the college game, we weren't really sure how it was going to go, and we're doing really well, and we're excited for how the season is going to go. We're very excited.
You get Kalamazoo coming up this weekend. You got to go to Kalamazoo. What's going to be the key?
Absolutely. We got the long trip to Kalamazoo. Key, just playing our game, really. We're off to a great start. We got to keep that momentum going and carry this on.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That was Alex Iyenk joining us up here in the broadcast booth along with Ryan Seaver. Congratulations to both those guys as they're part of a Capital win here tonight. Capital ends up defeating Denison by a final of 86-75. Let's go ahead and run through the stats of this game, beginning with the team statistics. First, for Denison, the Big Red end up shooting 44% from the field. They go 9 of 21 from three-point range, good for 43%. And they end up shooting 10 of 18 from the foul line, good for 56%. Capital, in the meantime, shot 52% from the field. They go 8 of 21 from three-point range, good for 38%. And they go 8 of 14 from the charity stripe as well, good for 57%. Denison ends up out-rebounding Capital 35-32. The Big Red also had 11 offensive rebounds in this game. 18 assists for Capital as opposed to only 12 for the Big Red. Turnovers, Denison had more, 10-6. Bench points, Denison did better in that category, 28-12. Blocks were just about even. Capital had 5, Denison had 3. Fast break points, Capital 17, Denison 9. Steals, Capital 7, Denison 5. Points off turnovers, Capital was able to take advantage a little bit more, 14-9 in favor of Capital. Points in the paint, 42-28 in favor of the purple and white. Dead even when it comes to second chance points, 6 each for each team. And 14 personal fouls for Denison as opposed to only 12 for Capital. Those are the team statistics. Now on to the individual statistics. We begin with the Denison Big Red, and boy, what a night it was for sophomore guard Darren Rubin. The native of Dayton, Ohio, ends up going off for 31 points. He goes 11 of 20 from the field, good for 55%, and a red-hot 6 of 8 from downtown, good for 75% from three-point land, and also 3 for 3 from the foul line for good measure. Tell you what, the Denison Big Red, they got themselves a star in the making in Mr. Darren Rubin, only a sophomore. Can't wait to see what the future holds for that guy over in Granville. Other scores for Denison tonight. Freeman Brew ends up tallying 11 points to go along with 3 rebounds. 7 points and 9 rebounds for Ricky Radke. Also 7 points for Cameron Smith. 4 points for Joey Bruno. 3 points for Gates Flynn. And finally, 3 points for Emmett Burnside. Now on to the individual scores for Capital. 4 double-digit scores on the night for Capital, and we begin with a pair of fellows that each tallied 20. David Sanford, 20 points, shoots 9 of 15 from the field, good for 60%. That included 2 of 3 from three-point land, good for 67%. Also had a couple of assists and rebounds as well. Also a very good game for Ryan Seaver, the freshman, going for 20 points, shooting 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from three-point land, and a perfect 2 of 2 from the foul line. 19 points for the freshman Alex Iyink. Iyink 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point land, and a perfect 4 of 4 from the foul line. And a double-double for Tyler Schreck. 13 points, 11 rebounds, ends up shooting 6 of 9 from the field, going 1 of 3 at the foul line as well. Also dished out 6 assists. If there was ever a stat stuffer for this Capital team, that would be Tyler Schreck. He does a little bit of everything for this Cap squad. Rounding out the scoring for Capital tonight, Caleb Crawford had 4 points. 3 points for Dom Mogerly. Also 3 points for Joe Thompson, and 2 points each for Keiondre Graves and Nate Gerber. With the win tonight, Capital improves to 3-1 overall. With the loss, Denison dips to 0-3. The Big Red will still be looking for its first win of the season when they participate in the upcoming University of Chicago Midway Classic. They are scheduled to take on Pomona Pitzer beginning at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Meantime, Capital, they'll head on the road. They'll be making the trek up to Kalamazoo, Michigan to take on Kalamazoo. That game is scheduled for a 1 o'clock start. And then after that road game, Capital will be coming back home the Sunday after Thanksgiving. They'll be taking on Manchester that day. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock start, and we will get things going with pregame coverage beginning at 1:50 that day. This is Charlie Danis saying one final time, the final score tonight from the Capital Center. It's Capital 86, Denison 7. So long, and good night from Bexley, Ohio.